Be me, 31F, head of people ops. At a fast-growing payment startup, total comp creeping toward $195,000. Drive a white BMW X, 3 x $15, almond milk, matches. Like it's a personality trait. Spend Saturdays at breathwork workshops and silent reset retreats. Life is streamlined, color-coordinated, and aggressively curated. Always been the one who wins married to Mason. $34 million for 6 years. Mason has been adequate. He's a senior systems admin, pulls maybe $98,000 a year, which is nice, in theory, in this city. It's basically lunch money. He's 5'8". If he stands up straight, which he usually doesn't, kind of folds into himself. When he walks lives in free tees and hoodies. He got at tech conferences. He's the safe option, the man you marry after you're done dating, walking red flags with great jawlines and terrible credit. He cooks, he cleans. He acts like, I hung the moon. Honestly, the devotion can feel claustrophobic, like a rescue dog that keeps pawing your leg, because it's just so happy you picked it. He knows he lucked out. I know he knows. We both know. Had my 31st birthday a few weeks ago. Something in my brain short circuits all of a sudden. The promotions and equity grants feel less exciting than the word legacy. Start thinking about having a kid never really cared. Before always figured motherhood was optional. But now it starts feeling like the next thing to build the next project to optimize. And once I frame it like that, my brain goes full spreadsheet mode. Start evaluating Mason's genetics the same way I screen executive candidates. And honestly, his profile is weak, family, history of asthma, bad seasonal allergies, anxiety on both sides, terrible eyesight. He's thinning on top at an alarming rate, zero coordination. The man trips over flat ground. He's intelligent in a server room kind of way, but he has no presence, no edge, no physical authority. And I'm sitting there thinking, do I really want to blend my premium DNA with this? I'm 5'7", played varsity soccer, and volleyball, never had a cavity scored, 132 on an IQ test in college, and I absolutely still mention it. Mixing my genes with his starts, feeling like pouring store-brand soda into an expensive bottle of wine once that thought lands. I can't unthink it. Start falling into internet rabbit holes at 1 a.m. forums about intentional breeding threads, about conscious evolution, weird pseudo-intellectual spaces talking about female-led selection. Read some book called The Maternal Mandate, Why Women Must Choose Wisely. The main argument is basically, marriage is social paperwork. Genes are permanent, and that line lodges itself in my head like a splinter. Why should I be restricted by the biology of the man? I picked for emotional stability and tax filing. I make my own money. I run departments. I can source top talent for any role. Why wouldn't I source the best biological input for my child? Mason's role is provider. That's what he's good at. He can build furniture, set up. Auto-pay research strollers for 6 hours. Assemble a crib without crying. Pay the Wi-Fi bill on time. Valuable skills, but not blueprint material. So I start scouting. And no, not for romance. I'm not trying to have an affair. This is not emotional. This is a hardware upgrade. Join one of those elite CrossFit gyms downtown where everyone looks like they were printed in a lab spot. Him on my 3rd session, Caleb, 24 years old, 6'2", built like a superhero, casting director's first draft. Perfect hairline, sharp jaw, clear blue eyes, skin like he drinks water and never experiences stress. He's a trainer. They're also trying to become a stunt performer in movies mentally. He's basically a Labrador in compression shorts physically. He's pure apex animal. I watch him do ring muscle-ups, like gravity is a rumor, and all I can think is, I want that explosiveness in my son, that coordination, that posture, that bone structure. Start running the math in my head. Caleb's genetics, plus Mason's reliability, plus my discipline and resources equals an elite child. It's rational, it's efficient, it's practically future-facing. Decide I should loop Mason in before I do anything. Not because I need permission, because I don't want unnecessary drama from surprising him too late. So I start planting hints for a couple weeks. Real soft stuff. Did you see that article about endocrine disruptors wrecking male fertility? Hey, your lower back is acting up again. Hope our kids don't inherit that. My friend Lauren showed me sperm donor profiles, and it's insane how detailed they are now. Blood work, education, athletic history, all of it. He doesn't connect the dots. He's too busy trying to patch something on a server cluster or ranting about some bug in production, completely oblivious. Finally decides subtlety is a waste of time. Make his favorite dinner, dry-aged ribeye garlic mashed potatoes. Open a stupidly expensive bottle of Cabernet, light a candle. Set the whole scene, sit him down at the table like we're doing quarterly planning. Tell him, Mason, we need to have a serious strategy conversation about the baby. He gets this huge, hopeful smile, little piece of steak already stuck in his teeth. Says, I'm ready, babe. I've been saving PTO so I can help more when the time comes. I just stare at him. It's not about PTO. It's about genetics. And then I lay it out. Full HR mode, calm, voice, steady, eye contact, compassionate tone, firm, framing. Tell him I love him. Tell him he's a great husband. Tell him he's stable, loyal, supportive. All true then, pivot, but we have to be realistic about biology. I want our child to have every advantage possible. Height, health, eyesight, athletic potential. I found a donor profile that complements my genetics extremely well. He stops chewing, goes totally still, sets his fork down, real slow. Says a donor, like from a sperm bank, tell him not exactly, banks are anonymous and clinical and frozen. Samples can have lower motility. I'd rather do this, the traditional way with a specific conception, partner, dead silence, just the AC humming and the ice settling in his glass. He looks at me like I switch languages mid-sentence, then says, You're saying you want to have a baby with another guy? I correct him immediately. It's not like that. Mason, it's a biological arrangement. It's conception. He blinks a few times. Then you want to cheat on me. Tell him not to use reductive language if we mutually agree. It isn't cheating. It's strategic family planning that is apparently the exact wrong thing to say. He loses it, like actually loses it. I haven't seen this man yell in years, maybe ever stands up so fast. His chair scrapes hard across the floor. Are you out of your mind? I'm your husband. Our kid is supposed to look like us, like me. I stay completely level, never raise my voice, never give up the frame. Say why? So he can inherit your asthma and panic disorder. His face just drops. I keep going. DNA isn't what makes a father love. Is raising the child. You'd still be the father. This man would just be providing the seed. He wouldn't be involved. I even say it gently, like I'm explaining benefits enrollment. He says no, absolutely not, grabs his phone and leaves the kitchen later. I hear the guest room door shut. He sleeps in there that night. I let him sit with it. Figure he'll come around once the emotions burn off and the logic sets in. Next day I switch approach, no warmth, no coffee waiting for him, no asking how work went, no little domestic niceties, just silence, professional silence. I also start leaving brochures for divorce, attorneys on the counter. Not a dramatic pile, just one or two at a time. Subtle pressure, very effective, 3 days of that. And he comes into the kitchen, looking wrecked, dark circles, red eyes like he hasn't slept at all. Says my name in this tiny voice. Hannah, please, I can't lose you. And there it is. Tell him then. Stop standing in the way of my reproductive choices. I'm having this baby. The only question is whether you want to be the dad who raises it with me, or if I do it alone. He starts crying. He actually breaks down crying at the kitchen table, not tearing up, full on, shaking, wet face, crying. It's honestly hard to watch, and weirdly, it just confirms my whole point. This level of emotional fragility, absolutely not something I want passed on. Eventually he gives in, but he has conditions. He never meets the guy. He never hears the name, and once I'm pregnant, we never talk about it again, like it never happened. Fine deal, message Caleb that night, slide into his DMs, keep it direct. Tell him I'm in an open marriage and looking for something discreet. Tell him he's exactly my type, physically. He's 24, and I'm a well-kept 31-year-old executive who knows what she wants. He responds almost immediately. He's in, we meet at a boutique hotel across town. Nice lobby, expensive candles. The kind of place where nobody asks questions if you look confident, strictly business mostly, and the physical difference is insane. Mason is soft and tentative, always second-guessing himself. Caleb is all muscle, leverage, and force. Everything feels efficient, animal, primal. It confirms every thought I've had for months. This is what vitality looks like. This is what my bloodline needs. We do it 3 times during my ovulation. Window just to maximize odds, Caleb asks. Basically nothing, no drama, no weird emotional talk. He's perfectly happy with the envelope. I leave on the dresser transaction completed 2 weeks later. Positive test. I bring it to Mason in the living room. He's on the couch playing Zelda controller in hand, eyes glued to the screen. Doesn't even look at me when I say it. It's positive. He pauses the game, just stares at the TV for a second. Says, "Okay." I'm standing there holding the test, like an award. Ask him, "Aren't you happy?" "We're gonna be parents," he says without looking at me. "You're gonna be a parent. I'm gonna be whatever I am. Tell him to stop sulking. You're the dad." Mason quit moping. It's unattractive. He gets up, walks out to the garage. After that, he starts spending a ton of time in there, reorganizing tools. He's never touched in his life, opening drawers, closing drawers, just standing there staring at the wall. Sometimes I leave it alone. He's adjusting. Men always resist change before they adapt. I stay focused on the outcome. Pregnancy is ridiculously easy. I get the glow everyone talks about. Skin looks amazing. Energy is high. I feel like a fertility goddess with excellent skincare. Start posting updates constantly. Little bump pics, healthy meal prep, affirmations, captions about building the future. Hashtag matriarchy, hashtag modern family. The Women in Tech group, chat eats it up. I give them the sanitized version. Mason and I chose a donor because of hereditary health concerns. That's all they need. They lose their minds. You're so selfless, that's incredible. Putting the baby's health over ego is queen behavior. And wow. Mason is such a progressive king for supporting you. Yeah, king sure, king in exile in his own house. Maybe he stops touching me completely. No hand on my back, no kisses, nothing. Around month 4, he moves into the guest room, for real. Says my tossing and turning keeps him awake. Fine by me. I need room to manifest anyway. I pour myself into the nursery, mid-century modern theme, neutral tones, wood accents, designer, everything absurdly expensive and worth it. Mason builds the crib without saying a word. I watch him on the floor with the instructions spread out. He keeps fumbling. One of the screws, gets frustrated, starts over. And I'm standing there thinking, my son is not going to struggle with basic physical tasks like this. I feel this deep wave of pride, like I found a loophole in biology, like I beat the system. Month 7, Mason's mom comes to visit. Sweet woman means, well, also deeply irritating in that passive way. She brings a hand-knit blanket, keeps touching my stomach, without asking smiles, and says, I hope he gets Mason's nose. The family knows. I sip my herbal tea and smile back. We just want him healthy, Linda. Mason is in the corner, staring at his phone, doesn't correct her, doesn't add anything, just sits there like a ghost in his own living room. Later that night, I corner him in the hallway, tell him he needs to snap out of this depression. This energy is bad for the baby. He looks at me like I slapped him. Bad energy. Hannah? I'm living in a nightmare. Tell him you agreed to this. He says, I agree because you threatened to leave me. I correct him immediately. I gave you a choice. That's what adults do. They make choices and live with them. Now, step up. I need you to drive me to Lamaze class tomorrow. He drives me the next day. Doesn't say a word. The whole way sits in class beside me, like a statue. All the other dads are rubbing backs, timing breaths, doing partner exercises, trying to look involved. The instructor asks Mason to participate. He says he has a headache, gets up and waits in the car. Just leaves me there, embarrassing as hell. I tell the other moms he's dealing with a critical server, launch at work. They all nod, like they've seen this movie before. One of them laughs and says, tech husbands, right? I roll my eyes and go with it. Then birthday hits my water breaks at 3 a.m. Wake Mason up, tell him it's time. He gets dressed in silence, drives us to the hospital, hands locked at 10 and 2 on the wheel like he's taking a driving test. Knuckles white, the whole ride doesn't say a single word. We get admitted delivery room, and the pain is unreal, like being split open from the inside. At one point, I genuinely need him. Tell him, Mason, hold my hand. He does, but his hand is limp, barely there. Tell him to squeeze harder. Damn it, squeeze it. He squeezes still, staring at the monitor, not at me. Hours go by. Nurses in and out, doctor coaching. Finally time to push. Everyone gets louder. One more. Hannah, come on. One more, I push, I see the head, and then he's out. Baby starts crying immediately, strong lungs, champion lungs. Doctor wipes him down, says, "It's a big boy. Look at all that hair." Then they place him on my chest, and the oxytocin hits like a truck. He's perfect olive-toned skin, thick dark hair, deep dark eyes. Looks absolutely nothing like Mason. Looks like a tiny Caleb. Like, unmistakably, the contrast is loud. Mason is standing near the warmer. Frozen doctor turns to him and says, "Dad, want to cut the cord?" Room goes weirdly quiet. Mason looks at the baby, looks at that thick dark hair, looks down at his own pale freckled arm, shakes his head. "No, I'm okay." Nurse gives him that awkward smile. "Are you sure? Special moment," he says louder. I said no. Doctor cuts it instead. Mason takes a step back. Then another ends up with his back pressed against the wall. I'm too flooded with hormones to care much in the moment, just staring at my son. Tell him, "Look at him, Mason. He's strong, he's ours." Mason looks at the baby, like it's something that just detonated in our lives, says quietly, "He's yours, Hannah, he's all yours." Later in recovery, Mason disappears for 2 hours. Says he's going to get food, comes back empty-handed, just sits in the chair and stares at the floor. My parents arrive all excited, cooing over the baby. My mom smiles and says, "Oh wow, he must take after your great-grandfather." Hannah, that darker complexion on your side of the family. Everyone starts doing insane mental gymnastics to explain why this baby looks vaguely Mediterranean when both of us are pale white Americans. My mom says, maybe it's some old family trait resurfacing. My dad says babies change a lot in the first year. Mason says nothing, just sits there in the room like a shadow, barely moves, barely blinks. And I start getting irritated. This is supposed to be my moment. I just engineered a better outcome. I optimized the kid. Why can't he just get on board? He brings the stability and resources. I handled the genetics. That's still a partnership. Why is he acting like feelings matter more than results? We go home 2 days later. Mason carries the car seat inside, sets it down in the living room, real carefully. Baby is asleep. Whole house is quiet. I'm sore, exhausted, leaking, and running on hospital adrenaline. Mason walks down the hall to our bedroom, comes back out with a packed duffel bag, just standing there with it in his hand. I stare at him, say, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm leaving." I'm still recovering from surgery, breastfeeding hormones all over the place. I feel weirdly fragile and furious, at the same time tell him, "You can't leave, I just had a baby. I need help." My mom comes tomorrow. I already called her. Tell him to stop being dramatic and put the bag down. He doesn't move, says I can't do this. Hannah, I looked at him. I tried. I really did. I kept trying to talk myself into it. But every time I look at that baby, I see the man you slept with. I see you deciding I wasn't enough. I fire back instantly. I was thinking about the kid's future. He says no. You were thinking about yourself. Then he opens the front door, and I feel control slipping, so I go louder. "If you walk out that door, don't expect to come back." I'm basically yelling now, trying to pull the situation back into my hands. He looks at me for a second and says, "I'm not coming back." Then he leaves, and the craziest part, he closes the door gently. Not a slam, just a soft click. House goes silent for half a second. Then the baby starts screaming, high-pitched, relentless, demanding. I stand there staring at the door, thinking he'll be back. He just needs time. He always comes back. He's dependent. He needs me to run things. He'll miss the house, the routines, the life. Me give it a week, max week 1 is hell. Actual hell. Baby has colic, starts screaming every night around 6:30 p.m. Keeps going until like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Nothing works. Rocking, swaddling white noise, bouncing walking laps around the apartment-sized chunk of my old house. Sleep deprivation is not a joke. It's torture. You stop thinking in sentences. Mason's mom comes by, just once, pretty sure Mason told her everything. She looks at me with these flat, cold eyes, helps, with dishes. Holds the baby, like she's doing a chore. She resents. I try to control the narrative. Tell her Mason's staying with his brother because he's having a crisis. Say it, like I'm being compassionate. Even throw in postpartum stuff can hit dads too. She just looks at me and says, "He's not depressed. Hannah, he's heartbroken." Then she leaves early, doesn't hug me, doesn't say call. If you need anything, never comes back. Week 3, Mason still hasn't answered my texts, not even to coordinate bills. Then a payment bounces, then another. I check the joint account, frozen, completely frozen. I think it's a bank error call, customer service, already pissed lady. On the phone says, one account holder requested a freeze on funds. Pending legal review, legal review. What legal review? I check my work email, first out of habit. Nothing. Check personal email. There's a message from some law office subject line is basically a brick to the face petition for dissolution of marriage and determination of parentage. I open the attachment. It's thick pages and pages, divorce, filing, motion for DNA testing to disestablish paternity motion to deny child support, based on fraud, coercion, and lack of informed consent. I actually laugh when I read it. Nervous laugh, like this has to be bluffing. State assumes the husband is the father. Everyone knows that. And he signed the birth certificate, right? Did he sign it? I replay the hospital room in my head. Nurse had forms. People were moving around. I was drugged and foggy. I honestly can't remember if he signed anything. Call my friend Rachel, corporate attorney, smart, sharp, expensive taste. No patience for stupidity. Tell her Mason's trying to pull some scam and disown the baby. She gets quiet, immediately asks, did you get a written agreement before conception? No. Did you use a licensed clinic or fertility doctor? No. Did he sign any consent form, specifically agreeing to third-party conception through intercourse? No. But we're married. We talked about it. She exhales, says if he claims coercion and DNA proves he isn't the father, and he filed fast, Hannah, this could go very bad for you. I push back best interest of the child. He has to support the child. That's the whole point, she says. Courts are changing on this stuff. Paternity fraud is a huge issue right now. If he moved immediately to cut ties and can show pressure or threats in texts, he may get out clean month 2 through month 5 turns into legal warfare. Mason doesn't fold, doesn't negotiate, doesn't even try to settle early. He goes all in, hires some nasty attorney who specializes in men's rights and paternity cases. Guy is smug and vicious. My attorney is billing me $475 an hour. Meter running every time she breathes. My savings starts evaporating. Mason's lawyer subpoenas my texts, subpoenas my emails, subpoenas, browser, history, and social media. Posts and they find everything. The forums, the conscious selection threads the posts, where I bragged about upgrading my husband's lineage, all of it. They print it out, bind it, bring it into deposition. Mason is sitting across from me at the conference table, and he looks different, leaner, started lifting or something, grew a beard, still tired looking, but focused, like all the softness got burned off. His lawyer reads one of my posts out loud. My husband is a genetic cul-de-sac. I'm doing both of us a favor, great provider. Weak stock. I need elite biology for the actual build. I physically cringe online. It sounded bold, empowering, cutting edge in a conference room with court reporters and fluorescent lights. It sounds insane, like full sociopath. Mason looks at me with this expression I've never seen before. Not hurt, not even angry, just disgust, pure disgust. And he asks quietly, "Is that really how you see me?" My lawyer jumps in immediately. "Don't answer that." But it doesn't matter. The damage is already done. Judge orders, DNA test results come back 0%, Mason 99.9%. Caleb Mason's attorney files for summary. Judgment on paternity argues Mason never truly accepted the child as his own, left almost immediately challenged paternity right away, and only agreed under coercion and threat of divorce. My lawyer argues marriage presumption, stability, best interests. All of it judge sides, with him says, paternity is disestablished. Some people start calling it a notable ruling, maybe even precedent setting. All I hear is the part that matters. Mason is legally a stranger to my son. Divorce gets finalized. No alimony. Marriage wasn't long enough, and our incomes were too close. Anyway, no child support. Obviously, I keep the house on paper, but I have to refinance and buy out Mason's equity within 60 days. Rates are over 7%, maybe higher. By then, I run the numbers 10 different ways. There's no version where it works. Mortgage payment after refinance, daycare, waitlist costs, nanny hours, so I can keep my job. Insurance formula, backup legal bills, I can't carry it. Month 8, sell the BMW, sell the house market cooled off. And I barely clear anything after closing costs and paying Mason his share, end up in a 2-bedroom apartment in a transitioning neighborhood, which is realtor speak for loud and sketchy. The super baby experiment is now a giant toddler-sized nightmare. I named him Nico, and he is huge, strong as hell, and loud enough to rattle windows. He screams constantly, throws things, fights, sleep. Like it's a war, crime. Daycare calls me 3 times a week to come get him. Daycare teacher pulls me aside one afternoon. Says it with a smile like she's complimenting me. He's got a really strong personality. Lots of dominant energy, and I just stare at her. Like, yeah, that's literally what I selected for. Turns out raising a high testosterone tiny maniac by yourself while working 60-hour weeks is not a girl boss challenge. It's impossible. My work performance falls off a cliff. Start missing deadlines, drop 3 KPI targets in a row. Stuff I used to hit in my sleep. Boss calls me into his office. Same glass walls, same fake concern tone. Hannah, we care about you, but your focus seems split right now. Tell him I'm a single mom. I'm handling everything alone. He nods like he understands. Says, maybe I should consider stepping back into a manager-level role for a while. Less scope, less pressure, translation, demotion, pay gets cut to $118,000. Still decent on paper in real life, with city rent and child care. I'm drowning, daycare alone is $2,900 a month, before food, before babysitters, before the random pediatrician visit. Because Nico bit another kid again, money starts disappearing. The second it hits my account. All the friends who hyped me during my empowerment arc are gone. They loved the curated bump photos, the captions, the hashtags, the donor story. They do not love the version of me with spit up on my blazer at 7:10 a.m. The women in tech group chat goes dead whenever I talk. One of them used to react to every message with little crown emojis. Now nothing saw her at Whole Foods. A few weeks ago, she saw me first. Immediately turned into another aisle, pretended to study. Olive oil, can't even blame her. I look wrecked, put on almost 30 pounds, stress eating, whatever is closest, hair is dry and frizzed out, roots grown in skin, dull. I look like the before photo in a makeover show. Nobody finishes watching 2 years after the divorce. Saturday morning, dragging Nico to the park because he needs to burn energy or he'll tear the apartment apart. He's throwing a full tantrum because I won't buy him a cake. Pop on the way. Screaming, kicking, trying to yank his hand out of mine. Kid is insanely strong for his age. Genetic optimization. Working exactly as designed. I'm sweating through my shirt on the edge of crying in public. Look across the playground to reset my brain. See a guy pushing a kid on the swing. It's Mason. I literally freeze for a second. I think I'm hallucinating from exhaustion, but no, it's him, and he looks incredible, full beard. Actually filled in, shoulders wider, standing straight wearing a fitted flannel and jeans that fit properly. Not a free conference t-shirt in sight. He's pushing this little girl on the swing, maybe 5 or 6, laughing with her. Then I notice the woman next to him, normal looking, in the best possible way. Late 20s. Maybe sundress sneakers, hair in a ponytail, not trying to win a LinkedIn award while buying produce. She's smiling at him like she genuinely likes him. Mason says something and starts laughing. Deep laugh from his chest. I haven't heard him laugh like that in years. The girl runs to the slide. He walks over, waits at the bottom. Catches her when she comes down, lifts her up like it's nothing easy. Natural capable. He looks like a dad. He looks like the exact thing. I said, he could never be. Not his kid, though. Has to be the girlfriend's daughter. Then he sees me. His smile disappears instantly. Not angry, not sad, just neutral. Gives me one polite nod. The kind you'd give an old coworker at Target. Then turns right back to her, and the little girl puts his arm around the woman's waist. Protective, comfortable, loving. And it feels like somebody kicked me in the stomach. Nico is still shrieking beside me. Then he smacks my leg because I won't pick him up. I look down at him, and for the first time in a while, I really look. He's objectively beautiful, perfect face, symmetry, strong frame, bright eyes, the whole premium package, and he feels like a stranger. He has the eyes of the guy from a hotel room who ghosted me after the transaction. He has the temperament of a stunt guy, All impulse and force, I'm connected to him by biology and obligation. And that's it. Some days he has no father, and standing there watching Mason with that woman and her kid, it finally hits me all at once. I stripped that man of his dignity for years, treated him like a utility, like furniture that pays bills, told him he wasn't good enough to reproduce, and because he loved me, he let me say it. He believed me, then he left and apparently found someone who treats him like a man. And now all that stability, all that patience, all that boring, loyal devotion I used to mock belongs to someone else, and her child. I wanted a dominant son and a compliant husband. Thought I could split the role in half and get the best parts of both. Have the alpha kid and the safe guy at home paying the mortgage. Turns out, life doesn't work like that. The guy I called beta leveled up in someone else's story, and I'm the one stuck with a tiny alpha who never sleeps and punches drywall with toys. I start crying right there in the middle of the playground. Real crying, can't stop it. Nico looks at me annoyed, then whacks me with his plastic shovel, says, "Stop crying, mommy." And my first thought is literally, yep, there's the genetics. He's just like his biological father. I built this exact outcome. I engineered my own. Hell. We go home. Nico immediately starts destroying the living room couch cushions on the floor, throwing blocks, yelling, because I won't put cartoons on. I open a bottle of cheap boxed wine, can't afford the good red anymore. Sit at the counter with my phone and make the mistake look up. Mason on Facebook. His profile is public relationship status. Says engaged photo of him with the woman from the park and the little girl between them. All three smiling. Caption says, "Found my forever. Grateful for a second chance at a real family." I just stare at that line for a long time. Comments are full of his relatives. "Finally, she's perfect for you. So happy you found your person. You deserve this." I scroll back through my own profile. All those posts about my matriarchal journey, the empowerment captions, the smug donor health talking points, the hashtags, whatever any of that was supposed to mean. I start deleting pictures one after another, bump photos, nursery reveal little speeches about intentional motherhood. All of it look up. And Nico is standing on the coffee table trying to jump to the couch. And I realize I have like 16 more years of this minimum. And then he'll probably leave too, because I basically raised him to think he's more important than everyone around him. To believe strength means you never have to care. Listen, Anon, hype is a trap. If you have a good partner who's loyal, steady, and actually loves you, don't dissect his flaws under a microscope until that's all you can see. Don't try to optimize a family. Like it's a software rollout. You cannot code human connection. I chased the genetics jackpot and lost everything that actually mattered now. I'm just a single mom in a small apartment with a kid. I don't fully understand that feeling when you realize the problem in the story was you the entire time.